Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating piece of theological research from the Bible, titled Order, Authority, and the Image of God. Our goal here is to transform the insights from this text into a format that makes some pretty complex theology easy to grasp. We're going to outline the big picture first and then dive right into the details. So get ready to focus, because we're unpacking some profound concepts about relationships, divine structure, and how we actually reflect the image of God in our daily lives. To get that big picture, let's look at our foundational text, 1 Corinthians 11:3, together. It says, "But I want you to realize that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is man, and the head of Christ is God." Now, what's absolutely crucial to notice right off the bat is that this verse establishes a very specific, ordered relationship between God, Christ, man, and woman. It sets the stage and provides the blueprint for everything else we're going to talk about today. To unpack all this, we'll follow this quick structure. First, the big picture. Second, the historical context. Third, order versus superiority. Fourth, the rule of interdependence. And finally, campus ministry application. Okay, let's kick things off with section 1, the big picture, a divine architecture. This is widely considered one of the most heavily debated passages in all of Paul's letters in the Bible. So it's really important that we approach it carefully. We need to try and understand the underlying theology of ordered relationships rather than just reacting defensively to it. The research emphasizes that how men and women relate to one another isn't just some sociological or cultural issue, it's actually a direct reflection of God's truth and love. The theology underneath it reveals an incredible divine architecture. Moving right along to section 2, the historical context, looking at 1st century Corinth. Before we dive deeper into the specifics, we have to look at the history. Paul is addressing a very specific 1st century situation here, head coverings in Corinthian worship. Now, obviously, the historical controversy of head coverings isn't exactly our controversy today, but understanding this context is totally essential to grasping the underlying principles of order. We shouldn't just throw out the text entirely just because cultural attire has changed, right? If we do that, we lose the timeless principles of how these relationships are structured. Which brings us to section 3, order versus superiority, and creating structure. The research describes a very clear step-by-step process or chain of relationships. Step 1, God is the head of Christ. Step 2, Christ is the head of man. And step 3, man is the head of woman. Now, viewed through the lens of Reformed Calvinism theology, which really emphasizes God's sovereign and purposeful design, we have to understand that this chain is interpreted as having absolutely nothing to do with value, intelligence, or worth. It is strictly about creating order and structure. Think about the Trinity. The Son submits to the Father, but that doesn't make the Son any less equal to the Father. It's an ordered relationship meant to honor a divine design. And this perfectly contrasts two different theories about this passage. There's a common misinterpretation that suggests this passage establishes male superiority, demeans women, and views authority as pure domination. But the research notes that the Bible, especially when you look at passages like Galatians 3:28, just does not support that view. In contrast, Reformed Calvinism theology argues the text's actual meaning is about creating ordered structure that reflects the Trinity's love and is modeled through humility and submission. Submission here isn't framed as degradation. It's literally the shape of love modeled by the Trinity. Let's move to section 4, the rule of interdependence, which is really the balancing weight of all this. Let's clearly define what we mean here. Interdependence is a relationship of mutual need where neither side can claim independence, because both ultimately come from God. This acts as the balancing weight of the entire passage. See, while Paul spends several verses establishing order, he quickly makes sure no one mistakes that order for self-sufficiency. In this theological framework, order never means isolation, and it definitely doesn't mean total independence from one another. There's a quote directly from the research that perfectly captures the heart of verses 11 and 12. It reads, "Although there is a set order of authority, it exists within a relationship of mutual need. Man needs woman, and woman needs man." The research reminds us that, sure, the first woman came out of man, but every single man since has come from a woman. This framework completely refutes any idea of one person looking down on another. It shows that brothers and sisters genuinely need each other's gifts, perspectives, and presence in a community. Finally, section 5, campus ministry application and how we're living it out. So what are the implications of this data for college students? If you're navigating a campus ministry community, these key findings show you exactly how to actively live this out. First, approach the passage with humility and careful study rather than defensiveness. Second, use the relationship between the Father and Son as your ultimate model for ordered authority,
remembering that authority is not domination. Third, always honor the profound equality of all people in Christ. And lastly, pray for wisdom for the community leaders who are structuring the ministry. These takeaways really show us how to honor both the equality and the ordered interdependence of men and women on your campus.
To wrap up this explainer with a clear conclusion of the research, I want to leave you with a profound question to reflect on regarding your own campus ministry community. Does the way authority is structured and exercised in your ministry community reflect the love and order of Christ or the world? Don't let discomfort push you to extremes. Let it push you to humble study. When we look closely at this theological architecture, the research suggests a blueprint built on mutual need, profound equality, and a structure of love. Thanks so much for joining me to unpack this research. Keep asking great questions.